Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala rasoolil kareem amma ba'd fa'uz billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. I am Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, here instructor of the course Standard Setting in Assessment. This is our last unit of your course outline, unit number 7. Dear students, I will cover this unit in 5 lectures. According to the outline, unit number 7 consists of future directions and other challenges of standard setting. And again, in this 7.1 rounding and methods of adjusting cut scores, 7.2 deciding how to incorporate uncertainty, 7.3 generalizability of standards, 7.4 using multiple methods of standard setting, and number 5 policy issues and other legal and policy issues. The learning outcomes of unit number 7 and 7.1. Dear students, this is my first lecture of this unit. Learning outcomes of this unit, this session are: after completion of this session, student will define, describe the future directions and other challenges of standard setting, elaborate and do the rounding off process. Number 3, elaborate the methods of adjusting cut scores. These are the learning outcomes of first session. In this, I will introduce about the directions and future challenges of standard setting, and also elaborate the process of rounding off, and then in the last I will elaborate the methods of adjusting cut scores. Dear students, I will define first the standard setting. Standard setting refers to the process of establishing one or more cut scores on a test. It means in this process, experts set or establish one or more cut scores on a test to decide about the success and failure of the student. The definition of Sazek 1992. According to him, the proper following of prescribed rational system of rules or procedures resulting in the assignment of a number to differentiate between two or more states or degree of performance. In this definition, he describes not only the cut scores but also include the performance levels of students, and he differentiate the between two or more states of performance. Now I will come towards the challenges. First of all, I will define what is a challenge. A challenge is something that puts you to the test. It means it is a situation that will give you a difficult situation. So challenge as a verb is derived from a Latin word meaning to accuse falsely, and it is still used much as it was in the 13th century in the sense of questioning whether something is true or right. In general sense, the challenge is a situation in which the person, he or she, may face a difficult situation, or he or she has to face difficulty while managing the situation. Dear students, there are several standard setting challenges. Number 1, rounding. Methods of adjusting cut score, deciding how to incorporate uncertainty, generalizability of standards, using multiple methods of standard setting, legal issues in standard setting. So these are all challenges in the process of standard setting methods. As I described the different methods, these were examinee centered methods, test centered methods, standards for accommodating the special children, are those standards in which experts have to adjust or accommodate the special children. These standards were made as a movement or various acts. Now I will come towards the first rounding off. To begin our attention to some special topics in standard setting, we start with what might appear to be one of the simplest issue, the problem of rounding off. Few standard setting methods yield an exact cut score. But in some standards, there is a problem of exact cut scores. It is in decimals. So mostly common use procedures proceed an average percentage of correct, a mean, theta estimate, or some other measure that is then converted into a raw score or scale score cutoff. both the objective of the conversion, that is the percent correction or theta value, and the result of the conversion, that is the raw or scale score cutoff, are almost always fractional value. So the experts or participants have to face problem in deciding about the success or failure correctly. For example, it is plausible that an NGOF procedure would yield a cut score of 27.4 on a 40-item test. A bookmark procedure might yield an average of theta of 1.19, itself a rounded value, which corresponds to a raw cut score somewhere between 27 and 28. Of course, of the actual interpolated value of 27.36 would likely be used, but again that value has been rounded. In these two cases, what are the values that should be recommended as cut score? So it is a difficult situation, and the experts face the problem which should be the correct or which should be the true cut score. In half-point scores are possible on the test. The decision might depend on the particular rule adopted. And cut scores of 27 or 27.5 or 28 may be correct for either situation. It means all three cut scores are correct, but it is reality there is a difference of 1.5 between 27 and 28. If half-point scores are not possible, both of these examples would still yield cut score of either 27 or 28. So if by rule or custom we round to the nearest score, both yield cut score of 27. If we take a more conservative approach that holds that 27 does not meet the cut score of 27.4, then the first obtainable score that doesn't meet the cut is 28. So in typical mathematical applications, rounding rules are clear and well known. However, in standard setting, because the first of the standard setting data analytic mill is more a matter of combining judgments than quantities. So it means in particular mathematical application, rounding rules are clear and well known. It means all people know what is the method of rounding off. However, in standard setting, because the grist of the standard setting data analytical mill is more a matter of combining judgments than quantities. It means the examiners or experts have to combine the judgments in spite of quantities or numbers. So that is a problem, and because they have to use the rounding off method because of this problem. And dear student, we hope the point that rounding is not a trivial matter is clear. The issue of when and how rounding should occur and should not be relegated to a post hoc matter of last minute cleanup. Directions for rounding and accompanying rationales should be specified in advance of standard setting. In standard setting, the examiners or experts first decide about the cut points or points of success or failures or proficiency or awarding some diploma or credentials. They decide about the cut scores or judgments before starting the process, and they make the decision with the consensus or averaging or the other suitable method. So dear students, in this session I have described first of all the method of the definition of standard setting, then challenges of standard setting methods, and I elaborate the first main challenge of standard setting process, that is the rounding off, and also try to explain how the experts or how the mathematical procedure is used to round off the numerical data, and the justification of little bit about the rounding off and the application of rounding off in the standard setting methods. In standard setting, the experts have to make judgments instead of deciding the true quantities or numbers. So dear student, this was all about the first challenge, rounding off in standard setting method. I will discuss the next challenge in my next session. This is the end of presentation. Thank you very much.